What's up, YouTube? Let me start off by saying I don't know why people have to say this, but I'm sure there's a reason. I'm not a professional bettor, right? I'm not a gambling tycoon or a guru or anything like that. So this is just my opinion and the bets I'm going to be putting down on UFC 314. Sorry to keep looking off camera. I have my notepad, as to what I think will happen and why. So let's start off. Nora Knoll versus Haley Cowan. I would love to tell you that I did a whole bunch of extensive research, and I'd be lying to you. I do what I like to call the body test and the age thing. I can't help but notice it seems like ladies, when they get older, they do better in MMA. I'm going with Nora Knoll. I think it'll be a decision. Shocking, I know. Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. I'm going with Tulio. I think Tresean Gore is dangerous or can be dangerous. I don't think he has anything in his arsenal that Tulio hasn't seen. Again, my opinion. I'm going with Tulio. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he finishes him in the second round. Not necessarily a knockout or TKO, which it could be, but I think he stings him, gets him down, and either subs him or TKOs him. Again, my opinion. Sam Wergy versus Mitch Raposo. Raposo, I know he had the fight with Andre Lima, and he did pretty well. Sam Wergy, I'm trying to read it off here, hasn't won a fight since 2021. At least according to what I've seen. He might have snuck one in there. Again, this ain't the gospel. I'm taking Mitch Raposo. I think he's younger. I think he's sharper. I think he's more hungry. And I think he takes it differently than Sam Wergy. I think he's willing to learn. We'll see how it goes. That's who I'm taking. Cedric Dumas, however you say it, versus Mikhail Olegzaychik. I think Dumas wins. Dumas, however you want to say it. I think he wins. I think Olegzaychik is a tough guy, but just because you're tough doesn't mean you're good, right? I think Dumas, or Dumas, however you say his name, if it comes down to even close to a decision, I think they're going to go with the younger guy. I'm going to be honest with you, I think it'd be better for the sport, right? He had a hiccup or two, and that's okay. Charles Oliveira had about 8 of them. And he's everybody's favorite fighter. So that's who I'm going with. I'm going with Cedric Dumas. I think he wants to win. Jolene Rosa versus Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins did okay against Volk. I think it was against Volk. I didn't put that in my notes. Sorry. But no, I'm going with Jolene Rosa. Darren Elkins is 40 years old, 39, 41. He's somewhere in that age. And don't get me wrong, Julian Rosa is no spring chicken. I don't think he has the same drive, right? I think he's here to, again, my opinion, I think he's here because it pays him to be here. And the difference being Julian Rosa can still learn and Darren Elkins cannot, right? GD. I'm not even 40, and you can't tell me nothing. Everybody says, Joe, don't waste your time making YouTube videos. Again, here I am. Moving on. Again, taking Julian Rosa. I would love to tell you about knockout decision. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go on here and give you guys a set thing as to what I think they'll win by because it's too volatile, right? Now, there's some fights I will tell you, hey, I think they're going to win by knockout. They're going to win by submission. But with the fights we've won over so far, I can't honestly tell you that that's how I think they're going to do it. Moving on, though. Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. I love Jim Miller, and I know he's tough as a $2 steak, but time does catch you, right? It just does, right? It just does. I think Chase Hooper is finally starting to kind of like fill out. I know he was very young when he started. I just don't see. I mean, Jim Miller could, by some divine miracle, guillotine him, however did you say it. I say guillotine. People get on to me about it. Oh, it's guillotine, whatever. Chase Hooper is better at this game than he looks like, right? His striking isn't bad. He just hit, golly, who was it? Borshev? I think it was Borshev. Hit him, dropped him. Killer Instinct. It's close. It is what it is. Again, my opinion. But he did finish his last 3 fights, which was Guida. He finished Clay Guida, which I get it. But Clay Guida, although he's old and ancient and many other things, he is tough. He finished him. He finished Borshev. And he finished Jordan Levitt. Last 3 fights, at least that I've seen, have been finished by submission. The kid's pretty tough. Go ahead and flip my page here. I know it's that. Right. I take notes while I watch. If ever there's a day I can get 50 subscribers, I know that's asking for a lot. I plan on streaming while I watch each fighter in each fight. If you guys would be interested, I know some of you guys have a 6-second attention span, and I know some of you guys watch reloading videos for 6 hours or whatever, right? I get it. I'm down. But I do plan to do research streaming so you guys can see where I'm coming from and why I have the picks that I pick, if you're interested. If I get 1 subscriber out of this, I'll do it. I really only do it because I enjoy it. Yang Xiaonan versus Verna Jandiroba. I'm taking Jandiroba. I know Yang Xiaonan, she's tough, right? She's got good striking. I would say she did okay against Zhang Weili or Weili Zhang. She didn't. She got her ass kicked the entire fight, and that's okay, right? She does that to a lot of people. I'm taking Verna Jandiroba. I think she is well-rounded. I think she's dangerous everywhere. I think her X factor is she's tough. She is not willing to go out there and lose, right? She's not. I think there's that certain thing in fighters, right, where I will fight until the final bell, but not just like throw crazy punches or do something silly. I think she tries to win the entire fight. Again, my opinion, I'm taking Verna Jandiroba. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. This is a good one. I would say that there's a real good chance that Sean Woodson wins this fight. However, he is long. He's not just long. He's really, really good at boxing. His takedown defense, I'm not saying it's technically wonderful or anything like that, but he's so damn tall. You can watch him with, was it Charles Jordan, sorry. He shot in great. Locked his hands up. right? Pulled in tight, had his head at the side, doing everything he needed to do. Picked him up. Dude's feet was this far from coming off the ground. He's very hard to take down. The difference between someone like Charles Jourdain and Dan Ige, Dan Ige has fought all of them, right? And although maybe his UFC record might not say, oh, he fought a guy that was 6'1", 6'2", 100, I think Dan Ige wins this fight. And I think he does it in a boring way. I do. I think Dan Ige, although everybody thinks, oh, 50K Ige, right? I don't think he will. I think he's finally realized you don't have to finish every fight to win it. Now, anyone aside from this giant monster, I think Dan Ige will go out there and put on a Diego Lopez type performance. But I think he's smart enough to even do it the boring way, right? Take him down. Dan Ige can take him down. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying he can. I believe Dan Ige will put on a boring fight, but I think he'll win the fight. That's what I think. I think he'll. I think the amount of experience can't be ignored here. Right. This isn't Patty versus Fiziev. Right. You got two super hot up and comers, both dangerous, and they're going to swing for the fences and see who goes out first. Dan Ige's not that guy anymore. He learned that lesson with Diego Lopez, which, I mean, GD, he put on a good fight. He put on a real good fight. We'll get to that later. But no, I'm taking Dan Ige. I think he'll out experience him, in my personal opinion. If Sean Woodson absolutely just teed him up, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, not a professional, just a guy with his opinion. Oh, this one. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva, however you say it. I like Bryce Mitchell, not for the antics, whatever. I like Bryce Mitchell because he's not afraid. I hate to be pretty crappy, but that's probably going to be the only compliment I give him. He's not afraid. He's not afraid. I think Gene Silva TKOs him in the latest second round. I'm not trying to talk smack, right? I'm not. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. I think Bryce Mitchell is tough until he meets a tough guy. You can talk about whatever the hell it is you want to talk about. You can, I'm sure some of you guys have went to some school or had a job where somebody's like, I'm crazy, man. I'm crazy. A lot of people are afraid of them. That doesn't make you dangerous, right? That doesn't change your skill set. It doesn't change your power. It doesn't change your speed. It doesn't change your endurance. It doesn't change anything, right? It changes your mindset, which has nothing to do with your opponents, right? You can put your mindset wherever you want it. That doesn't change your opponents. I think Gene Silva genuinely is not afraid of him. He's not afraid of his grappling. He's not afraid of his antics. He's not afraid of, I'll walk straight up in the middle of the octagon and stare you in the eye, right? Like that's not something that scares someone like Gene Silva. Shouldn't be anything that scares any human being, right? Just because you think something doesn't mean it's reality. I think Gene Silva, I don't think just beats him. I think beats him bad. Not Josh Emmett bad, where it's just real quick and turn the light off. I think he makes a show of it. That's what I think. I like Bryce Mitchell. Again, Bryce Mitchell might go out there, ragdoll him, and sub him in 20 seconds. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but there is that chance. I think Silva absolutely ruins him. Again, my opinion, that's a heavy bet. That's one I put serious money on. That being said, do not do that because I told you to, right? That's something I'm doing. Probably the wrong bet, but that's one for me. Can't tell you enough. Do not do that. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Here's another heavy bet. If by some divine miracle Patricio makes it through the first 2 rounds, I think on the best end for Patricio is a 29-28 decision. I think Yair Rodriguez absolutely overwhelms him. I don't think he's used to fighting the caliber of fighters that he's going to see in Yair Rodriguez. I think Yair Rodriguez, his striking is so dynamic, right? And here's another thing, right? The fight with Ortega. Everybody's like, oh man, Ortega's shoulder went out, his elbow went, whatever, right? That may be true. But if you look at the position that Yair was in, it's not like he was trying to get a rear naked and the guy's knee went out. It's not like it was completely out of the realm of possibility that maybe that submission is what caused that. And any guy who may have gotten a submission over Brian Ortega, he lost to Volk. Who hasn't? I think Yair is better than people give him credit for, especially with somebody like Patricio Pitbull, guy who's older he's older in his career. Not necessarily age. The guy's clearly in good shape, but in his career, he's seen it all, except for someone like Yair. I think Yair finishes him within the first 2 rounds. If by some divine miracle he makes it to the 3rd round, I think it will be such a dominant fight. It'll be a clear 29-28, maybe even 30-27. That's another heavy bet I'm putting money on. Again, don't do that. That's my opinion. It's just me. But no, I'll be betting heavy money on that. Paddy the Baddy versus Michael Chandler. This is a tough one for me because I have always been a Michael Chandler fan, right? Guy came from another division, another promotion. I'll fight anybody, right? I'll be the backup fighter. I'll do this. Had an outstanding performance against Dan Hooker. Heavy overhand right. TKO'd him. Everybody thinks he's the next one, right? Just being honest, though, giving credit where credit's due, you can look at this one of 2 ways. At least I do. His fight with Gaethje, right? Gaethje hurts a lot of people. Fiziev, in my personal opinion, I think Fiziev even gives Islam problems, right? Just because he's such a specialist in striking. Gaethje, he can't be hurt. He just can't, right? Unless your name is Habib or Poirier or whoever the hell was beat him back in the day. I can't remember. Anyway, to go 3 rounds with Gaethje like Michael Chandler did, fight of the year, at least in my opinion. I watched that fight and I did this the whole time. Couldn't even breathe. Outstanding fight. Michael Chandler's tough, right? His first fight with Oliveira was finished in the 2nd round, right? Only went 2 rounds. Chandler won the 1st round, right? He was then finished later on in the 2nd round. Chandler has the ability to win here. He absolutely does. I know his record in MMA is shit. And as much as I would love to defend that, I can't, right? Just because you think you can win, don't mean you can win, right? I love Michael Chandler. And the fact that he showed up and he's willing to fight anytime, any day, my man, right? I don't think he beats Paddy. A lot of people think Paddy will submit him, and that is a possibility. I think Paddy KOs him, TKOs him. I think Chandler will be so worried about the grappling and not being submitted, I think that Paddy will catch him in a real close exchange, right? They're both going head to head, right? And Paddy does have a good chin, which Chandler has a great chin. And to be fair, it's been tested more than Paddy's. I thought he lost the Jared Gordon fight, but that's neither here nor there. But I do think that, again, age catches up with everyone. I think you only get so many cracks on the chin before it starts to shatter. I think Paddy KOs him or TKOs him. Again, that's a heavy bet. For me, don't place it. Be smart. Put your money in a Roth IRA or something. Don't put it on fights. I'm telling you, I've lost a lot of money doing this. But no. That's my opinion. I think Paddy finishes him in the first 2 rounds, and I think he does it by a KO or TKO. Volkanovski versus Lopez. Now, every bone in my body tells me to go with Diego Lopez. He's dangerous. He is on fire, en fuego right now. This is his fight to lose. I'll put it to you that way. Diego Lopez is a better submission grappler. I'm not going to say he's a better striker, but he is infinitely more dangerous than Volkanovski. Infinitely more dangerous than Volkanovski. I think a lot of people are hung up on Volkanovski's last 2 fights, right? Head kick KO from Islam. The brutal, I think it was a left hand. When Volk was backing up against Ilya. Understandable, right? Understandable. Here's what I love about Diego Lopez. That kid is the definition of a warrior, right? I will gladly die for the chance to fight. Volk's definition to me is more of a captain or a general. I will gladly fight and die too, but there's going to be a pretty damn good reason for it. So, as much as this is tough, man. I actually want Diego Lopez to win. And here's why. He's young, he's up and coming, he's exciting. I want him to win. Volk's got nothing left to prove, right? There is not a person on this planet who's an MMA fan who doesn't like Volkanovski, right? If you lose, right off, right? Right off, you will be a legend forever. Robbie Lawler status. I mean, like a brawler. Like, man, this guy earned this, right? Demetrius Johnson. Guys like that. Like, if you go out, it's not going to be like, oh, it was John Jones. I had fight overturned for PEDs, or I had the Dominic Reyes loss. And I'm not talking shit about John Jones, but these are things that are going to be brought up later on. But to say John Jones ain't the GOAT, who the hell am I? Anyway, I want Diego Lopez to win this fight because I feel like he can build on it and Volk will plateau. So here's what will happen with the division, right? You have a rising GOAT or just the man. Everybody loves him, hates him, win, lose, or draw, move on. I want him to win. But I think Volkanovski, just like everyone else who has a 70 IQ or higher can see that Diego Lopez does not do well. About a round and a half. Round and a half. And, you know, I get it, right? The Dan Ige thing. Oh, man, Dan Ige was on the couch watching the fights when he showed up. I know that's an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. Right? Diego Lopez had to make weight 3 different times. Well, his weight never went down, right? He constantly went up in weight. You know, his fight with Brian Ortega. His fight, I love Diego Lopez. He's probably in my top 5. He's definitely in my top 5 favorite fighters. As of now. I want him to win. But I think Volk is going to old school show him a different side of this fighting game. Right? You can show up to win and hope and believe that you do. But someone who's been there, done that, is going to show you exactly what's wrong with your plan here. That's what I think. I think Volkanovski wins. I think it's boring. Volkanovski might even finish him. Late 4th round, sometime in the 5th round. I think Diego Lopez, as much as I love him, golly, I love him. I don't think he's got the fight IQ to beat Volk. I'm not saying he won't have it, but as of today, I don't think he does. I think Volkanovski wins the fight. That being said, Diego Lopez might go out there and smoke him in 30 seconds, which is a possibility. But that's not a heavy bet. That's just a bet I'm making. I think Volk wins by either decision or late round finish. But thank you guys for showing up, even if there's one of you who showed up. Maybe there'll be more. Right? If I can get 50 subscribers, I can go live, which I won't beg for it. I've got a good job. Right, life's good to me. If I do get them, though, I can go live, and you guys can actually, because I plan on streaming it, right? This is kind of what I want to do with my free time from now on. You guys can actually watch. We can communicate while I'm breaking down each fighter. We can exchange ideas, and we'll just kind of make a day out of it, or make an hour or 2 out of it, you know, if you're interested. But that being said, thank you for your time. I hope to see you again. If I don't, well, such is life. But enjoy your evening, and rock on.